and welcome back to the Spider's Web. And today we're going to be doing these two little blighters. But first, before we concentrate on those, let's just finish off the last bit of our leaping stage 2. So we just want a little bit of the red, not much, and we want quite a bit of the white, and much more. There we go. And I'm just going to gently brush over the area of red that we did in the last video that I missed out on. Alright, and when that's dried we can go over again with the Druidshire Violets, and it will all, as they say, come out right in the wash. Okay, so that's that done. What we need to do now is our young friends here with the gun and the guns and the knives. Well, first of all, let's draw the metallic stuff, and we use our usual tin bits. And everything that's metallic we go over with this. If you've seen my videos before, you'll know exactly what I mean. And that's his hand, that's the hilt of the knife, sword, bayonet, whatever it may be. And do the other side now. Now, so that's that bit done, and now the gun. So anything that's metal we're going over with the tin bits. Anything that isn't metal we're not touching at all. Not if we can help it anyway. Okay, now the metal parts are done, we can now concentrate on the skin. Or what should be skin, let's put it that way. And we're painting them all red, and this time I'm going to be using, just for a change, a mix. We're going to be using Evil Sun Scarlet, give it a bit of a shake. Some of that, and we're going to mix in a little bit of the Troll Slayer Orange, just to lighten it a little. There's no real reason I'm doing this, it's just that it may make a slightly different shade and look to the finished piece. I'm not saying it will do, but you never know. And we're going all over here with this colour. So it's just a different shade of red to use, rather than using the same ones over and over again. And with these I used a wash, an initial wash rather, of Carrollburg Crimson rather than Druchii Violets. So with these I have done slightly different than with the others, but that's because these are an earlier class or an earlier stage of mutation, and I thought it was would be a better option. Different shade of flesh. There's not much in the line of the bony armour, bony carapace rather, that has grown on the stage 2. Just slap the paint on for the skin and flesh areas, and then correct it all and tidy it up when you come to do the clothing. There we go. Plus, again, as I said, if there's rips in the clothing, you can get the skin part done. Just paint over directly over on the clothing around it. Don't be fussy. In fact, that's it for flesh on this one. I can't see any more areas that. Yes, I can. There's a hole in his trousers there, and that gives you another idea. You can just go over the clothing like so, and then tidy it all up later when you come back to paint the clothing. There we are. So that's the base coat for the flesh for those, plus the the base coat for the metal areas. So I'll put these paints away now. I'll put them to one side. Now we need to find out what colour we're going to be doing the clothes. Well, this guy's only got a pair of trousers on. So what we're going to do is I think we're going to do them a brownish colour, and let's go with Balor Brown. Okay, so now a lot of people will tell you never ever ever take paint directly out of the pot like I'm doing here. As you can see, with the new range of paints from Games Workshop, they are already quite watery, but they do have a much better pigment, or seem to have a much better pigment in them, so they do cover quite well, but they are still quite I'll say watery for want of a better word, so they do actually spread a lot better than they used to, so there's not really as much of a need to add water to the paints. They still, as you can see, sometimes have problems covering, and you may need to add another coat of this, but I say if you do, all the better. If you don't, fair enough. But as I say, you don't really need, in my opinion, to water these paints down anymore. They seem to be quite good straight out of the pot. They're not as thick and gloopy as they used to be. In fact, if you were lucky, you could get some paints of the older Games Workshop paints rather, that were quite watery anyway. The Scorpion Green is one of them, which is, as you can see, another one that I use straight out of the pot. But there we go. I'm leaving that part there, as you can see, unpainted, because that's not part of his trousers. I didn't notice that one until I'd started painting, but not to worry. Next, what I'm going to be using for the other chappie, because I'll leave that to dry first off before I go back and do that area. I'll do that a slightly different colour, so I'll put that one back and return to this young fella. We have t-shirts and trousers to do here, and boots. Okay, so for boots, I'm going to go with, that's the wrong one, Dryad Bark. Okay, it's a very dull grey browny colour. It's quite a dark colour. It's okay for anything that's supposed to be brown leather or some such. And I don't know why on earth I'm doing the boots first, but because I wanted to do the trousers, but never mind. Okay. There's the boots done. Now the trousers. In fact, I want to do the t-shirt first. Now I've done the boots. And the t-shirts I'm going to do with Tallarn Sand. Now we have to watch what we've already done, gone over with the red, and try and be careful not to go back over anywhere where it is flesh. Just cover the areas that is t-shirt, which would be there. there. And if you can get away with it, as little paint on the brush as possible, and dry brush across so that you're not accidentally covering over flesh. And as you can see, I did there. We are going to be going over this t-shirt again at a later date. We'll have to do that after we apply the Carrollberg Crimson to the flesh, but this is just to map out the colour and give us an idea of what colours we're going to be using. And I think there should have been another bit of flesh, or it could be just a crease in the t-shirt there. But we'll try and add paint over each, not over each, over all the areas that is going to be t-shirt, and keep well away from, or attempt to keep well away from putting the paint on where there is, where the flesh is. But we do want to do, we want to be going inside, like so we can actually see t-shirts against the skin. There we are. And I'm sorry if I'm quiet, I'm just concentrating a little too much on this because I don't want to, as I said, I don't want to catch the fleshy areas. I want to do this. There's a lot of fiddly bits around here, and I'm just trying to make sure that I don't get the paint on the wrong part. And we also want to be going over areas that haven't covered that well with the over the black, but we don't want to be too overly careful what we're doing, because we will be going back afterwards with the Carol, after we've put the wash of Carrollberg Crimson on, because we'll be putting that on over the gaps here. We can also use this on the wraps round the rams and the guns, and then dry brush over with bleach bone. Is it bleach bone? My brain has just switched off again. Screaming Skull, sorry. It used to be bleach bone. I thought that didn't sound right when I said it. Yeah, so we can do this on here, on the wraps on the arms, on the guns. And then, as I said, dry brush over with the Screaming Skull. I forgot to do his hand. Might actually use that as a glove, because it does look like one. But that one there isn't a glove. There we are. So those areas are done. We can now go back to this fella and do the same with him. Going over the the wraps on the gun and his arm. That's one arm done, and now the other. And now while we're waiting for that bit to dry, what we can do is oops, there's a place I can't quite get to. Right, so what was I saying? What we can do while waiting for that to dry is just double check these shoulders where we're going to be putting the green, and it does look as though I've got a bit of, well, we've got a bit of red on there, so we need to add, or just go over them, turn them up a little bit with the black. I'm still using this Abaddon black that I had already. There's not much point in opening a new one when there's still a little bit in here. It's just when it gets down to the bottom and becomes thick and gloopy, it can be quite difficult to apply, but as it stands at the moment it's not looking too bad. I'm just going to go over this part because it looks like its spine is breaking through, and I will go over the hair